I think my last video about BTS was 0 O'Clock, one of my favorite songs of theirs of all time. And another song that I appreciate in a kind of similar way is Paradise from the Love Yourself Tear album. I've been listening to this song a lot recently, and it becomes more emotional for me to listen to as time goes on. I'm finding that out. Most of BTS's albums, of course, age very well, but there's such an emotional pull that develops where it kind of becomes hard to listen to at times. I think that speaks to how well crafted these albums are, though. The Love Yourself albums are quite a timeless series of work, and what I want to talk with you about today, I believe the song Paradise in particular outlines a bulk of what the Love Yourself album series is about in its entirety. So I guess to begin, there is a brief moment in time during album development where this song was suggested to be titled Fool's Race, in reference to races in different cultures around the world that are held with no finish line.
멍청이 달리기 어떠냐고 저한테 그러신 거예요. 멍청이 달리기요? 멍청이 달리기라고 미국에 아마 미국이었나요? 멍청이 달리기 하면 약간 좀 깨지 않을까요? 약간 그렇게 해서 다행히도 낙원으로 됐습니다. 멍청이 달리기 했으면 좀 네. 아무튼 잘 된 것 같아요.
The Korean word that Namjoon uses for the title is 멍청이, which is like the Korean word for idiot or dimwit, which I think is important to consider. A 멍청이's race or a idiot's race, fool's race, right? The song Paradise outlines from the very first lyrics that life is like running a marathon. This is a pretty common ideology or worldview in Korea, and there is a lot to consider from this idea. In a marathon, it matters what pace you're going at, running steady and resilient, but it's equally as important to know what direction you're going in, where you need to go in order to reach the finish line, right? Obviously, it's easier to follow the paved road of a real marathon to the finish line than it is to follow the metaphorical road that guides you in the right direction of your life. As we enter the pre-chorus and into the chorus, the meaning of the song develops into a kind of criticism of the life is like a marathon idea. BTS doesn't discredit it entirely, but instead alters the rules of the marathon to become more realistic. It's hard to run the marathon that is life when you don't know what you're doing, what goals you're working towards, who you want to be, and so on. If you don't know what and who you want to be, there is no finish line in the race. You can run in a single direction and hope that you find some kind of finish line, but there is no guarantee. There's a strong likelihood that running aimlessly in hopes of finding a sense of purpose may be wasting time, wasting years of your life that you will never get back. You reach the end of this stretch of life after setting up these goals for yourself to realize that there is no finish line for you to pass through. There is nothing at the end that made the journey worth it, so what do you do? Paradise's chorus speaks to a solution to this issue. It's okay to stop. It's alright to not have a dream. If you have moments where you feel happiness for a while, it's alright to stop. What I think this means is that it's okay to realize that you've been running the wrong race or barreling down the wrong path of life in an effort to find some kind of purpose, and it's equally as okay to do something about it when you realize it, even if it means walking off the trail and starting from the very beginning of another path. The solution to this problem, as well as the entire Love Yourself album series in a way, is to forgive yourself, to understand that making less than desirable choices is a part of life, and starting over again should be seen as a good thing. Now obviously, starting over again is a lot easier said than done. There's so much more work in life that goes into that than again, just stepping off the road of a marathon and starting a new one. I think a philosophy of life I've adopted from this album series is exactly what Paradise speaks to. Forgiving yourself for running in the quote wrong direction, because in the end, it's not your fault. I'm finding that out as I grow up. It is really hard to know when you're running in the right direction. I may be making the wrong choices right now, and I won't know until I know, but there is a value or idea to pull from this song and the Love Yourself album series entirely. I know that no matter what or where I end up in the future, I will forgive myself for whatever choice that I make. I will cherish the decisions I've made, even if they led me down the wrong path. It's not intended to be an egotistical thing, but believing that I do not make wrong choices, no matter what I do, is the way to forgive myself. As long as I have good intentions, right? I do not make wrong choices. The solution, as frustrating and tiresome as it is to appreciate the journey in the high and low moments, even the moments where there's no scenery at all to enjoy, as BTS puts it in the pre-chorus. Finding a way to appreciate yourself for pushing through those darker times is how you find purpose. It is kind of a fool's race in the end, because the people who are running with no intention of finding that metaphorical finish line are characteristically the ones who enjoy life to its fullest. If you're not looking towards the end, you kind of force yourself to live in the moment and to enjoy what can be called the journey of the race, week by week, month by month, or even day by day, hour by hour. What Paradise outlines is that it's okay to live with your mindset in the moment. It's okay to live life in the way that you are living it because that is what you're capable of. It's fine to want more for yourself and to work towards that, but it's not worth it to leave your present day self behind, to neglect yourself, and always look towards the future. In the live stream where Namjoon expresses the album tracks from this album, he says Paradise is partly inspired by Marxism.
약간 그런 꿈도 마찬가지고 꿔야 되는 거고 막 잡아야 되는 거고 쟁취해야 되는 거고 나쁜 게 아니죠. 저도 꿈이 있고 누구도 꿈이 있겠지만 꿈이 없을 때도 있었기 때문에 저는 없다가 있다가 하는 것 같아요. 그리고 어젯밤에 내 꿈도 꿈이고 그런 말들에 착안해서 가사를 썼고 낙원이라는 거 뭐 마르크스 자본론에서도 나오는 얘기, 뭐 그런 얘기도 있었지만
Which I think has been the topic of discussion for years at this point. I don't believe he's ever expanded upon why he said that, so we do mainly have to speculate. My personal and very general explanation for Paradise's Marxist connections is around the idea that it's okay to not have a dream. It's okay to live in the moment and to look forward to what's happening and what will happen in the near future. By metaphorically stepping off that road and deciding that it's okay to let go of a dream and decide you don't have one anymore, I think the reason why that feels so taboo is because it is so heavily ingrained into capitalistic societies that we must have long-term ambitions. More than that, our quote, dreams must conform to the economy in some ways. Most dreams that society and parents try to impress upon you are those which earn the most renown and money, such as a parent encouraging their child to work to become a doctor. BTS talks about this in the second verse. We borrow dreams from others like a debt. We learn that we need to become great like a light. Your dream is actually a burden. A dream has the potential to become a burden, especially if it was never really yours to begin with. Paradise challenges that dreams should be held in a higher regard, and perhaps controversially, depending on what society you exist in, dreams should be decided upon personally. A dream that has been impressed upon you by society or those around you is not really one that belongs to you. Under a Marxist lens, a dream that requires you to be the best in your field in order to obtain it should be carefully analyzed. Competition isn't always a bad thing, that is the society we live in oftentimes, but it's important to consider how much of your desire for that dream is fueled by the need to surpass those around you in order to be the best or most successful. All of this is to say that the word dream kind of gets oversaturated by being tied to so many different ideas, and that is why if you don't have an answer right now as to what you want to do or who you want to be, if it brings you happiness or fulfillment to stop and enjoy the moment, or recognizing that it may be better to step off the marathon path and begin on a different one, that is completely okay. Again though, all of this is a lot easier said than done, but importantly, not necessarily impossible, no matter what stage of life you're at. If there's a dream you find in your mind and heart, it's worth listening to and striving towards in whatever ways possible. That is what Paradise means to me, at least at this stage in my life where it currently does feel like things are not working out in the way that I intended for them to. I'm doing what I'm capable of. I appreciate myself for that. I do want more for myself, and I'm going to work towards that, but in the end, I do not make wrong choices. Everything is adding to the story of my life in a meaningful way, even if I don't recognize or appreciate it as it's happening. I will one day in the future. At least, I hope. Right? Yeah, I think that's all for me. Thank you for watching this if you did, and hopefully this made sense, my own personal understanding and connection to this song as I grow up. Let me know what you think about this. If you have any thoughts or feelings about this song in particular in a similar or maybe different way, thank you again for watching this. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time.